The year was 2016, November 2nd to be exact. My family and I were on a road trip and we were staying at a hotel for the night. I was watching TV, I think King of Queens, when my brother sent me a link. I opened it up and it was the newly released pilot to Infinity Train. I remember walking over to the bathroom in the hotel room and watching it in there so that I wouldn't wake anyone else up. And I was beyond impressed. It had cute, humorous side characters, clever writing, funny jokes, a talented lead actress, and above all else, an intriguing sense of mystery. I wanted to know what the monster in the episode was doing. I wanted to see Tulip discover why she had a green number on her hand, and more importantly, I wanted to see what would happen next. And of course my wish came true. In August of 2019, the show finally aired on Cartoon Network, and each season that has been released, either there or on HBO Max, has been critically acclaimed. All 3 seasons have complex characters and genuine character development. They each take on serious themes and are not afraid to take a darker approach to them. They all have an excellent cast and above all else, amazing writing. The 4th and final season just released today, so to celebrate the show's fantastic run, I decided to rewatch the entire series. Upon doing so, I was inspired to make a video series on it. Each video, of which there will be 4 in total, will serve as both a review and analysis of the corresponding season. So let's begin by discussing the show's first season. I mentioned that the show takes on darker themes. Naturally, the first episode of the series isn't afraid to get its hands dirty. It starts off as many cartoons do, with the protagonist talking to her friend. Tulip comes across as a fun, nice person. She's passionate about coding and is looking forward to going to camp. Everything seems happy until they arrive at her house, and Tulip's friend asks if her dad ever goes inside, revealing that Tulip's parents are recently divorced, a truth that looms over the rest of the season. This topic makes Tulip uncomfortable, so she rushes inside, then ignores her mother in order to get to her room, to her only escape, coding. It is clear that, just a minute and a half into the show, that Tulip has yet to come to terms with her parents' divorce. Smaller things like how she crosses her arms and remains upstairs while speaking to her mother are also evidence of this. The show continues to point out the weight of their separation when Tulip's mom tells her that her dad won't be able to take her to camp. When Tulip says, "You and Dad," the camera pans over as if to show her father when he's mentioned, only for nobody to be there. Tulip's life is missing a very important piece, and Tulip blames her parents for this. She frowns after seeing a picture of her parents together with her, and when Tulip's father texts her to apologize, she runs away. But the train she gets on does not take her to camp, because of course it's the Infinity Train. She meets One-One, my personal favorite character in the show. Soon after, she realizes she has a number on her hand and that the large blanket of snow she finds herself in isn't Wisconsin, but in fact a train car. Confused and scared, she gets off the train. Now, if you've watched this show, you know that the train is meant to help troubled individuals work out their problems and improve. It is for this reason that I think it's fitting that the cockroach monsters that plague the surrounding area have the ability to rapidly age someone, effectively killing them. If someone bails on the train, refuses to take the time to work on themselves, if they take the easy way out, death is what they receive. Because what path is easier than death when it comes to avoiding your troubles? Clearly, this is not what Tulip intended, so she and One-One flee back to the train, with the goal of finding the conductor, and of course One-One's mom, in the hopes of finding Tulip a way back home. And just like the purpose of the train was made for, each episode of the season has Tulip recover a piece of herself, slightly improve, and move towards fixing the flaw that led her onto the train. In the second episode, Tulip meets the cat, who offers to speak to the conductor on her behalf in exchange for One-One. I love One-One, so I initially thought Tulip would be like,
"Ooh, he's no for sale!"
But Tulip accepts, despite One-One's continued kindness towards her. After the cat and One leave, though, Tulip's sense of guilt leads her to realize that it was wrong for her to put her needs before One's. She chases down the cat and retrieves her friend, to whom she genuinely apologizes. One immediately accepts, of course, saying he knew she would bounce back, just like the flower she was named after. Like, really, how can anyone not love One? Tulip and One, in a remake of the pilot released on YouTube 3 years before, entered the Corgi car, where they meet Atticus,
King and uniter of the Cardigans and the Pembrokes.
Over the course of their journey in this car, it is revealed that there are green orbs that have some sort of effect on the car's environment. But more importantly, Tulip learns the valuable lesson that progress cannot be rushed, it must be earned. A lesson reiterated in the crystal car, when Tulip's attempt to build a ladder to the door backfires. Eventually, she realizes what she needs to do, that being sing a song her parents used to play while on road trips. Which is honestly kinda neat, since, like I said, I first saw Infinity Train when on a road trip. This song, though, has far greater meaning after the 5th episode. In this episode, the cat traps Tulip in her own memories. We see her in the car listening to that very song while on a road trip with her parents. She sees her and her family at a dolphin show, but is confused as to why such a great place closed down. Our first clue to the falsehood of these memories. We see her put a blanket on an empty couch at night while Atticus and One are on the TV, and things spiral from here when she realizes what's up. Something is changing her memories. And as she corrects each one, it is revealed that the happy family life we had just been shown was far from the truth. Tulip's parents were never happy together. They argued at the dolphin show, and Tulip's dad was actually crying on the previously empty couch. And then we see the moment when Tulip's parents told her about their upcoming separation. We see Tulip blame her parents for changing a good system, a family life we have seen just now to be anything but good. Tulip has been blocking her parents' negative interactions from her mind, and here Tulip realizes that she has been the one altering her memories, and it's this realization that frees her from the cat's trap. I can't help but wonder if the song she sang in the previous episode was an altered memory as well. Perhaps that song was used to drown out her parents arguing, but anyways, that's just conjecture. It's here, though, that we see her number once again go down, but unlike every other time thus far, Tulip doesn't care. She finds it insane that the best theory behind the number on her hand is that it represents her growth as a human being, that an inanimate object is judging her. She covers her hand with her glove and leaves. With this in mind, what is the problem the train wishes her to fix? Up to this point, I assumed that it wanted her to accept her parents' divorce, to accept her new family dynamic, but after this, after how personal her problem clearly was, I knew it wasn't quite so simple. And I've got to tip my hat to Owen Dennis for this, because I honestly would never have guessed her growth would build to anything besides my initial assumption. For a few episodes, this question remains unanswered, and Tulip's number remains covered. In the meantime, the gang visits the broken turtle car, which One almost destroys single-handedly in his attempt to fix it. This episode may seem like filler at first, but it is honestly one of the best of the season. It begins to build towards a reveal about One at the end of the season, and more importantly, it shows how far Tulip has grown since the start. One claims that the car is broken because of him and that it's his fault, and then has this conversation with Tulip.
It's my fault.
Is that what you think? That it's your fault?
I know it.
I know what it's like to think that if you had just been better, things would have been different. Just know that I speak from experience when I say, this is not your fault.
Now, I was lucky enough to be raised by parents who love each other, who didn't get divorced, and I don't have any friends whose parents did. You see, I was raised in the South in a very Christian community. I mean, my mom's marriage with my dad is her second, but the first was far before I was born. But anyways, I'm getting off track. My point is that I cannot relate to the pain children of divorced parents must go through, and I won't pretend to. But from what I can tell, this scene seems to embody what I would expect someone like Tulip to feel. And Tulip bringing up her pain makes perfect sense, given not just what 1-1 is doing, but also what Tulip just went through with the cat. Having such an important character moment be relevant not just to Tulip, but to 1-1 as well, was honestly beautiful. Probably the most heartwarming scene in the entire series. The 7th episode, which introduces Mirror Tulip, is honestly more relevant to Season 2, so I'll discuss it more in the next video. However, it does show Tulip that the train isn't right about everything, and thus she should not care what it thinks of her. So she removes the glove covering her hand and sees that her number has decreased all the way to 3. She has come so far and is so close to her goal of returning home, but the last piece of her puzzle comes at a heartbreaking cost, because Tulip is the hero of this story, and it's time for her to meet the villain. I was shocked. Not once since the Clone Wars had Cartoon Network killed off a character, at least to my knowledge. And for that character to be a dog was just fuel to this depressing fire. But if this wasn't enough, things get even darker. Because the conductor does not simply kill Atticus. Rather, she turned him into a cockroach monster, and Tulip is forced to flee from what was once her friend, then trap it.
It's okay to cry.
I legitimately hated the conductor after this, but it took this show just one episode, a mere 11 minutes, to turn that hate to pity. If we take Season 3 out of the discussion, this is probably Infinity Train's greatest feat. This episode has the cat once again present Tulip with the tape, claiming that this one cannot trap her since it's not hers. This tape belongs to the conductor. It shows 2 kids, Amelia and Ulrich, sitting together during class, then graduating. It shows them having fun with the lady on the phone at the phone booth, and then we see Amelia propose to Ulrich. And there are 2 interesting things to note here. First, Ulrich created the conductor's voice, foreshadowing that he is the conductor. And second, the school at which the 2 graduated looks the same as the broken turtle car, suggesting that the conductor is trying to rebuild his past. And when we see his family outside in the rain dressed in black, we understand why. Ulrich runs away, much like Tulip, and discovers the Infinity Train. But here it's revealed that the individual is not actually Ulrich, but rather that the conductor is 1-1. I'm joking. I mean, not really. But the individual in the memory is actually Amelia. She lost the most important thing in the world to her, and her mission is to rebuild her past on the train. This is a flawed course of action, sure. The train is meant to help people work through their problems, but Amelia is in denial. She's refusing to accept that Ulrich is truly gone, that she can't bring him back. She's refusing to face her grief, refusing to accept change. She's taking something meant to help her be better tomorrow and using it to return to yesterday. She is ultimately the antithesis of Tulip. While Tulip has used the train to face her past and improve as a human being, Amelia has used it to hide from change, to hide from her past. But this is the same reason Tulip entered the train, isn't it? Because she didn't accept the change to her family's dynamic? So, even though they use the train for opposite reasons, they really are still quite similar.
Did you get it? Seeing her tape just made things harder. She turned Atticus into a monster. I don't want to feel bad for her. But now I know she's a person named Amelia, who was in love, and she's hurt because she's afraid. Like me.
And yes, it's this admittal that finally gets Tulip's number to 0, because the point was not for her to accept her parents' divorce, but rather to understand how it hurt her. The point was for her not to bottle up her feelings and hide in her room, in her coding, but to express her feelings to those who care about her, to open up to others. But Tulip is a better person now than she was when she first entered the train. so she refuses to leave until Atticus is turned back into a corgi. She and Wun-Wun, with the help of the cat, set off to face Amelia, and after a fittingly climactic battle, Tulip manages to turn Atticus back into himself, while Wun-Wun discovers his mom, the train's motherboard, revealing that he is the true conductor. Tulip tells Amelia that she needs to come to terms with change and move forward, even if it's just a step at a time. And that is exactly what Tulip continues to do, but not before saying goodbye to her friends. This is truly a fantastic season of television. It is the only cartoon I can think of that focuses on the pain of divorce, which is insane when you realize that the divorce rate in America is over 40%. I think it's very important that children of divorced parents have a character on television they can relate to, a way to see that they can still live good, happy lives. Every episode plays into this message. Every episode develops Tulip's character. And on a larger scale, this season serves as a reminder to all of us that the world is constantly changing and we have two options on how to respond. We can either close ourselves off from the world and pretend that things don't have to change, or we can face change head on and become better people because of it. We can refuse to acknowledge when the world hurts us, or, like a tulip, we can bounce